King Xylar stood on the balcony of his grand palace, overlooking the ruins of what was once a vibrant city. Xyloria, his beloved home, was now under siege. The sky was filled with dark clouds, and smoke rose from the burning buildings. The sounds of chaos echoed through the streets as his soldiers fought valiantly against the invading forces. But no matter how brave they were losing. Everywhere Xylar looked, he saw despair. His best warriors were falling one by one. The enemy was ruthless, and their numbers seemed endless. His heart ached as he thought of his people who had trusted him to protect them. The thought of failure was unbearable. He had always believed that a king's duty was to keep his kingdom safe, and now he felt he had let everyone down. Xylar paced back and forth, his mind racing. He remembered the tales he had heard from the elders about ancient Earth. They spoke of a fierce and resourceful species known as humans. Despite their simple ways, humans were known for their courage and ability to fight against all odds. Perhaps they could help him in this time of need. With a flick of his wrist, he summoned his advisor, a tall, strong Xylorian named Keltor. "We must send a message to Earth," Xylar declared, his voice filled with urgency. "We need their help." Keltor raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "But they are primitive. How can they possibly aid us against such a powerful enemy?" Xylar shook his head. "Do not underestimate them. They may have what we lack: numbers, creativity, and a fighting spirit." "We have to try." Reluctantly, Keltor nodded. The two of them worked together to craft a message. Xylar poured his heart into the words, describing the plight of Xyloria and his desperation for assistance. "We need super soldiers," he wrote. "Please help us save our world." Once the message was sent, Xylar felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps the humans would respond. They had fought their own battles. Surely they could understand his plight. Days passed, and Xylar grew anxious, staring at the sky, waiting for a sign. Meanwhile, the situation grew worse. The enemy army breached the outer walls of the city, and Xylar could hear the distant sounds of clashing swords and cries of pain. His heart sank with each passing moment. The hope he had felt was quickly fading. Just when he thought all was lost, a bright light appeared in the sky. A small craft descended slowly, landing in the palace courtyard. The soldiers around Xylar drew their weapons, but he raised a hand to calm them. This could be the help he had hoped for. The door of the craft opened, and out stepped a group of humans. They looked strange to Xylar, with their soft features and colorful clothing. Dr. Elena Carter, the leader of the group, stepped forward, her eyes scanning the surroundings. "We received your message," she said, her voice steady and confident. "We are here to help." Xylar's heart raced with excitement and relief. "You came?" he exclaimed, stepping closer. "You are our last hope!" Dr. Carter nodded, her expression serious. "We heard your call, King Xylar. We understand the urgency of your situation. Tell us what you need." Xylar felt a surge of gratitude. He explained how the enemy had attacked without warning and how his soldiers needed training. "They are brave, but they lack the strategy to fight such a powerful foe," he said. The humans listened carefully, exchanging glances as they discussed among themselves. "We can help with that," Dr. Carter finally said. "But we need to work quickly. Time is not on our side." As they spoke, Xylar felt hope blossom within him. For the first time in days, he believed that they might stand a chance against the invaders. With the humans by their side, Xyloria could rise from the ashes of despair. They would fight together, united against a common enemy. King Xylar knew the battle ahead would be fierce, but with the help of these brave humans, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would defend his kingdom and prove that even in the darkest times, hope could light the way. Back on Earth, the scientists at the Global Research Institute gathered around the large monitor in their lab. The room was filled with excitement and confusion. Dr. Elena Carter had just returned from her unexpected mission to Xyloria, and she had a lot to share. As she began to explain the message from King Xylar, the team listened with rapt attention. "He needs our help," Elena said, her voice steady. "His kingdom is under attack and they are losing. He believes we can train their soldiers to become super soldiers." Dr. Tom Hayes, a skeptical member of the team, crossed his arms. "But how can we trust an alien? We know so little about them. They could be dangerous." Elena shook her head. "We can't ignore their plea. If we can help them, we should. Xyloria is in crisis and we have the skills they need. Besides, think of the knowledge we could gain by working with them." The room buzzed with discussion. Some scientists were excited by the idea, while others worried about the risks involved. Dr. Sarah Lee, an expert in military tactics, stepped forward. "If we do this, we must be prepared. We have to approach this carefully. What if their enemies come here? What if they don't want our help?" Elena nodded, acknowledging the concerns. "Those are valid points. But imagine what we could achieve together. We could learn about their technology, their culture, and we might even save lives." After hours of debate, the team finally reached a consensus. They would send a small group of scientists and soldiers to Zoria. They would be careful and prepared, but they could not turn their backs on a plea for help. The team worked quickly to gather resources and create a plan. They packed equipment, weapons, and supplies needed for the mission. As they prepared for departure, a sense of purpose filled the air. This was not just about saving an alien kingdom, it was about showing the world that humanity could rise to the occasion when called upon. A few days later, they launched a small spacecraft, heading towards Zoria. As they traveled through the stars, Elena looked out the window, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. She thought of King Xylar and the desperation in his voice. They were going to help him, and she hoped it would make a difference. Upon arriving on Zoria, the humans were amazed by the beauty of the alien planet. The landscape was filled with strange plants and towering mountains, all shimmering under the light of two suns. As they landed, the team stepped out, greeted by King Xylar and his loyal advisor, Keltor. "Welcome back," Xylar said, relief evident in his voice. "You have come just in time. The enemy is closing in, and we must act quickly." Elena felt a rush of adrenaline. "We are here to help," she replied, determination shining in her eyes. "We need to see your soldiers and assess what we can do." As they moved through the palace, the humans observed the Xylorian soldiers preparing for battle. They looked strong but weary, their eyes filled with worry. Elena felt a wave of empathy wash over her. These beings were not just warriors. They were people fighting for their homes and families. King Xylar introduced the humans to his best soldiers, who stood tall but appeared uncertain. "They are brave," he said, "but they lack the training to face the enemy's tactics." Dr. Sarah stepped forward, addressing the Xylorian soldiers. "We are here to teach you strategies and skills that will help you in battle. Together, we can turn the tide against your enemies." The soldiers exchanged glances, a mix of hope and skepticism on their faces. But as Elena spoke, she could see their spirits begin to lift. They were ready to learn and fight for their home. Over the next few days, the humans and Xylorians worked side by side. The training sessions were intense, filled with laughter and challenges. As they practiced, bonds formed between the two groups, breaking down the barriers of fear and misunderstanding. Dr. Elena Carter felt a sense of pride as she watched them grow stronger together. She knew that they were not just preparing for a battle. They were building an alliance that could change the fate of both worlds. With each passing day, hope grew stronger, and the fire of determination burned brighter in their hearts. As they continued to train, Elena realized that they were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a future where humans and Xylorians could stand together, united against any threat that dared to challenge them. The battle ahead would be fierce, but now they had each other, and that made all the difference. The day had finally come for the humans to cross into Xyloria. Dr. Elena Carter and her team stood in the courtyard of the palace, their hearts racing with anticipation. King Xylar had gathered his soldiers, ready to embark on a journey that would change everything. The humans had promised to teach them how to fight back against the invaders, and now it was time to put their training to the test. The sun rose over Xyloria, casting a golden light over the land. Elena looked around at the strange yet beautiful landscape. Towering trees with colorful leaves surrounded them, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. It was a world unlike any she had ever seen, and she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. As they prepared to leave, Xylar approached Elena. "Thank you for believing in us," he said, his eyes shining with hope. "You are our last chance. With your help, we can save Zoria." Elena smiled back, feeling a sense of responsibility. "We're in this together, King Xylar. Let's show them what we can do." They gathered in a large, sleek spacecraft that Xylar had provided. The ship was a marvel of alien technology, with smooth lines and glowing controls. As the humans climbed aboard, they could feel the excitement in the air. The soldiers were ready for anything, and the humans were determined to help them succeed. With a soft hum, the spacecraft lifted off the ground. The team watched in awe as Xyloria shrank beneath them. They were leaving the safety of the palace and entering a world filled with danger. But they were also entering a world of possibilities, and everyone felt it. As they soared through the sky, the landscape below transformed from lush forests to rugged mountains and vast plains. The journey was mesmerizing, and Elena couldn't help but take notes, eager to capture every detail of this extraordinary world. But the thrill was short-lived. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded. The spacecraft shook violently, throwing everyone off balance. "What's happening?" Elena shouted, gripping the nearest control panel. "We're under attack!" Keltor, Xylar's advisor, yelled, his voice filled with urgency. Outside the ship, dark enemy vessels emerged from the clouds, firing laser beams at them. Elena's heart raced as she turned to Xylar. "What do we do?" Xylar's expression hardened with determination. "We fight back! Prepare the weapons!" The humans quickly moved to the weapon controls, their training kicking in. They had trained for this moment, but now it was real. As the enemy ships closed in, they launched counterattacks. Laser beams shot through the sky, illuminating the dark clouds. Elena coordinated with her team, issuing commands. "Aim for the lead ship. We need to take them down." The humans worked together seamlessly, a testament to their training and their growing bond with the Xylorians. As they engaged in battle, the Xylorian soldiers showed remarkable skill. They fought fiercely, using their agility and speed to outmaneuver the enemy ships. Elena watched in awe as Xylar commanded his troops, his confidence shining through even in the heat of battle. "Look out!" Keltor shouted, pointing to an incoming enemy ship. The humans fired their weapons just in time, striking the ship and causing it to explode in a brilliant flash of light. The battle raged on, with explosions and laser fire all around them. It was chaos, but it was also exhilarating. For the first time, Elena felt the thrill of being part of something bigger than herself. They were not just fighting for Xyloria, they were fighting for each other. After what felt like hours, they finally gained the upper hand. The remaining enemy ships retreated, disappearing into the clouds. Breathing heavily, Elena and her team cheered, their spirits soaring. "We did it!" she exclaimed, turning to Xylar and Keltor, who wore expressions of disbelief and joy. "Yes, we did," Xylar said, a wide smile spreading across his face. "This is just the beginning. Together we can win this war." As they continued their journey, the atmosphere inside the spacecraft shifted. They had crossed not just the physical distance between worlds, but they had also crossed a line into trust and friendship. The humans were no longer just outsiders. They were allies. Elena looked out the window, watching Xyloria stretch out before them. This was their chance to prove that even in the face of great danger, unity and courage could lead to victory. They were ready for whatever lay ahead, and together they would fight for the future of both their worlds. The sun rose high over Xyloria, casting bright rays on the training ground where Dr. Elena Carter and her team were preparing the Xylorian soldiers for battle. The air buzzed with excitement and energy, and everyone knew that time was short. The enemy could return at any moment, and they had to be ready. Elena stood at the front of the training area, watching as Xylorian soldiers gathered. They were strong and agile, but they lacked experience in battle tactics. She felt a sense of purpose as she faced them. "Today we will train hard," she announced, her voice firm. "We need to work together to become a powerful force." The soldiers nodded, their eyes shining with determination. Xylar stood by Elena's side, ready to support her. "We will follow your lead," he said, his tone serious. "We trust you to guide us." Elena divided the soldiers into groups, mixing humans and Xylorians. She wanted them to learn from each other, sharing skills and strategies. The humans had experience in modern combat, while the Xylorians had natural abilities that Elena wanted to harness. "Let's start with basic combat drills," Elena instructed. She showed them how to hold their weapons correctly, emphasizing the importance of stance and balance. The soldiers listened closely, eager to absorb everything they could. As the training began, the humans demonstrated their techniques. They practiced hand-to-hand combat, showcasing their agility and speed. The Xylorians watched carefully, taking notes and trying to imitate their movements. Some struggled, but others quickly picked up the techniques. "Great job! Keep going!" Elena encouraged them, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. She felt a rush of pride as she saw the soldiers improving. Each time they succeeded, the bond between the humans and Xylorians grew stronger. After a few hours of drills, they moved on to tactics. Dr. Sarah Lee took charge, explaining different battle formations and strategies. In a fight, communication is key, she emphasized. You must always be aware of your surroundings and your teammates. The soldiers practiced moving in formation, learning to cover each other's blind spots. At first, they stumbled, but with Sarah's guidance, they began to move in sync. They laughed and cheered each other on, the atmosphere filled with camaraderie. As the day wore on, Elena noticed a change in the soldiers. They became more confident and began to trust one another. Xylar watched closely, his pride in his soldiers evident. They are growing stronger, he said to Elena, a smile breaking across his face. This training will make a difference. But the real test was yet to come. As dusk fell, they gathered around a large holographic map of Xyloria. Elena pointed to various regions, explaining the terrain and potential enemy positions. Understanding the battlefield is crucial, she said. We must know where to strike and where to defend. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared through the training grounds, cutting through the evening air. Everyone froze, their hearts racing. What's happening? Keltor asked, concern etched on his face. Enemy ships detected, a soldier shouted, panic rising in the crowd. They're coming back! Elena's heart pounded. This was the moment they had been training for. Stay calm, she ordered. We've prepared for this. Gather your weapons and follow my lead. The soldiers rushed to their positions, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Elena felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was the ultimate test of their training. Would it be enough? The group quickly organized, splitting into teams. Xylar took charge of one unit while Elena led another. Remember your training, she yelled as they prepared for battle. Stick together and watch each other's backs. As the enemy ships descended, the air filled with tension. The humans and Xylorians stood side by side, ready to fight for their homes. The training had brought them closer, transforming them into a united front. With a loud roar, the first enemy ship opened fire. Elena ducked behind cover, signaling her team to return fire. Laser beams lit up the night sky, and the sounds of battle erupted around them. The Xylorian soldiers fought with newfound strength and determination, using the skills they had learned. They moved as one, supporting each other, and Elena couldn't help but feel proud of how far they had come. As the battle raged on, Elena realized that they were not just fighting for Xyloria, they were fighting for each other. They had crossed into a new world of trust, bravery, and friendship, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The night was filled with tension as the humans and Xylorians braced themselves for the ultimate battle against the invading forces. The air crackled with energy, and the distant sound of enemy ships grew louder, echoing through the night sky. Dr. Elena Carter felt her heart race as she gathered her team and the Xylorian soldiers in the command center. This was it, the moment they had prepared for. Everyone listen up, Elena said, her voice strong and steady. We have trained hard for this day. We know the enemy's weaknesses, and we will use our skills together. We fight for our homes, our families, and our future. The soldiers nodded, their faces determined. Xylar stood beside her, his eyes fierce with resolve. We will not let them take our world! Together we will show them the strength of our alliance. As the enemy ships filled the sky, Elena pointed to the holographic map displaying the battlefield. Our strategy is clear. We will divide into two teams. Team A will distract the enemy from the front, while Team B will flank them from the side. Communication is key. Stick to the plan. The soldiers quickly moved into position, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. Elena took a deep breath, reminding herself of the training they had endured together. They were no longer strangers, they were a family bound by a common purpose. With a loud roar, the enemy ships descended, unleashing a storm of laser fire. The ground shook as explosions erupted around them. Now! Elena shouted. Move out! Team A charged forward, drawing the enemy's attention. Elena could see Xylar at the forefront, fighting bravely alongside his soldiers. The Xylorians darted through the chaos, using their agility to dodge enemy fire while returning shots with precision. Meanwhile, Team B, led by Elena, advanced quietly to the side, using the terrain for cover. The humans worked together seamlessly, their training paying off as they communicated through hand signals and quick glances. Elena felt a surge of pride as she watched them navigate the battlefield with confidence. As they reached their designated position, Elena raised her hand, signaling for silence. They were now close enough to strike. "On my mark, aim for the lead ship," she instructed, her eyes focused on the glowing target. The tension was palpable. With a deep breath, Elena counted down. 3, 2, 1, fire! Lasers shot from their weapons, hitting the lead enemy ship with a blinding flash. It exploded in a burst of light, sending debris flying. Cheers erupted from Team B as they witnessed their successful attack. "Now let's push forward!" Elena shouted, her voice filled with determination. They charged into the fray, joining Team A in the heart of the battle. Together they fought fiercely, moving as one fluid unit. The battlefield became a blur of motion and sound. Elena ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding enemy fire. She could see her teammates working together, covering each other as they fought. Xylar fought valiantly, his skills honed from their training. He was a true warrior, leading his soldiers with courage. As the battle raged on, Elena felt a surge of hope. They were holding their ground, pushing the enemy back. But just as they began to gain the upper hand, a massive enemy ship appeared in the sky. Its size dwarfed all the others, casting a shadow over the battlefield. "It's the command ship," Keltor yelled, panic in his voice. "We need to take it down." Elena quickly assessed the situation. "We can't let it regroup. We need to strike now." Gathering her courage, she turned to Xylar. "If we can distract the smaller ships, can you and your best soldiers take out the command ship?" Xylar nodded, his expression serious. "Yes, we can do it, but it will be risky." "Risk is our only option," Elena replied, determination fueling her words. "We've come too far to back down now." With a plan in mind, they split their forces again. Team A would continue fighting the smaller ships while Team B focused on the command ship. As Elena and her team advanced, they worked in perfect harmony, using their combined skills to keep the enemy distracted. Xylar led a group of elite Xylorian soldiers toward the command ship, weaving through the chaos. They aimed their weapons with precision, determined to take down their greatest enemy. As the command ship fired back, explosions erupted around them. The battle was fierce, but Elena could see that they were making progress. The command ship was losing power, and hope surged in her chest. "Keep firing!" Xylar shouted, leading the charge. "We're almost there!" With one final push, Elena and her team launched their remaining firepower at the command ship. A bright flash lit up the night sky as it exploded in a magnificent display of color. Cheers erupted from both humans and Xylorians, their spirits soaring. The enemy was in retreat and victory was within their grasp. Elena looked around at her team, filled with pride and gratitude. They had fought together, overcoming the odds, and their bond was now stronger than ever. As the dust settled and silence fell over the battlefield, Elena realized that they had not only defended their worlds, but had also forged a new alliance. They had shown that when united, even the most different of beings could achieve greatness. The future was bright, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead.